This episode is brought to you by Progressive Insurance. Do you ever think about switching insurance companies to see if you could save some cash? Progressive makes it easy to see if you could save when you bundle your home and auto policies. Try it at progressive.com. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Potential savings will vary. Not available in all states.
Regen auf mein Kopf. Hinter der Deckel muss sie kleine Farbe im Kopf. Geht mir kein Sach mit, die Tropfen von Regen auf.
Hey everyone, welcome to Kill Me Now with Judy Gold. I'm your host, Judy Gold, and this week we have part two with my conversation with Caitlin Cook, which so talented, so beyond talented. So I hope you enjoy that. I am recording this on Sunday night, and I just have to say, I had the best Mother's Day in the entire world. You know, I'm so annoying. I'm so annoying that I mean, and it takes the pleasure out of it, but I was like, so what are we doing tomorrow? Like, I was sending texts to Henry and Ben, just being such an annoying Jewish mother, because I didn't want them to forget that it was Mother's Day, but it also takes the pleasure out of the spontaneity and the fact that they did, whatever. So Elisa's in P-Town. She is, we're on the board of the Provincetown Tennis Club, and she's the treasurer, and she hates me because I nominated her, and now it's so much work. But anyway, she's in P-Town. She's having a great time. And I'm home, and I wake up this morning, and I'm like, are they going to call me? Are they going to wish me a happy Mother's Day? And of course they did. And not only did they, they made me, first of all, Henry, I don't even know what to say. He's such a good cook. He made the most delicious steaks, potatoes, asparagus, and spinach. I mean, I'm posting pictures on Instagram, but so delicious. You know, he's worked in a lot of restaurants, so he really kind of knows how to cook, and he hasn't cooked for me a lot. And I got to tell you, it was beyond. I don't even like steak, but I was like, I kind of want steak. I mean, delicious. And then Ben made bruschetta, and then made fun of me for saying bruschetta, and it was so delicious. And, you know, I did have I wanted to be like, don't do that, and you should be using that. And like, okay, I didn't. I let them take over the kitchen. Yes, it was a mess, but I don't care. I don't care, because it was such a delicious dinner, and I had such an amazing Mother's Day. So thank you to Henry and Ben. And I was literally saying how lucky I am. You know how Nancy negative I am. And I just couldn't stop saying how lucky I am and how happy I am. And I am lucky and happy. I mean, the world's a shit show, but how lucky am I? How fucking lucky am I? So thank you to Henry and Ben for making this the most fantastic Mother's Day ever. Yes, and on Saturday, I spent the day in Connecticut for my Aunt Joan's 95th birthday. She is incredible. Just completely cognitively beyond most, 40-year-olds, knows everything that's going on. She's my mother's sister. I love her so much. So happy. We had such a nice birthday celebration with her in Connecticut. And it's just so nice. You know what's amazing? It's so nice to see my cousins and everyone. And when I think back to my childhood, whenever we got to see Aunt Joan and Uncle Bernie and my cousins, it was always the happiest times. We just loved getting together with them. And, I should ring the bell. Okay. And, as you get older and, I don't have parents anymore who are alive, and I always think of them at these gatherings. I don't know if anyone else who's lost their parents, whenever we have these family gatherings, I always think of them. And, Aunt Joan's the last of them, and she's so great. So it was a wonderful celebration. So happy birthday, Aunt Joan. I could go on about the shit show that is happening in the world, but why bother? You know, I don't want to take away the most incredible Mother's Day ever. So thank you to my wonderful sons. I feel like that, you know, with a lot of help, and I'm not the only mother, I helped to create two incredible human beings. And that is the greatest accomplishment of my life by far, like no question. So yeah. So happy. I can't believe I'm happy right now, but I am. I'm happy, and I'm not going to I'm not going to be negative. So, and I love Caitlin Cook. She's amazing. And so I hope you enjoyed part 2 of my conversation with Caitlin Cook. Sit back, relax, and enjoy Caitlin Cook. Okay. So you went to Oxford. You undergrad in art history, but I read that you have a master's in archaeology. Is that correct? Because I've heard you also say you have a master's in art history. So was that a double master's?
No. So in the show, I say that I went on to get my master's in art history because it makes sense for the show in terms of like, I say that I wrote my master's thesis on bathroom graffiti. I actually wrote my bachelor's thesis on graffiti and bathroom graffiti. I ended up going to Oxford and getting my master's in underwater archaeology.
Yes.
Which I don't use very much at all anymore. But basically, I was fascinated by history, and I had also really gotten into scuba diving. I was fascinated with shipwrecks. I was doing photography on like archaeological dives and stuff.
Did you ever see? Did you ever go to Sweden and see that ship that?
The Roskilde?
Yeah. Oh my God! Yeah. Isn't that the coolest thing?
It's so fascinating. And there's such an interesting, obviously, like humans, we need to be around water. And so there's such a huge history around shipbuilding and island colonies and all of this stuff that is sort of like hidden in the ocean. And so this degree was all about like scuba diving, going down there and finding stuff and learning more about our history.
What's the coolest thing you found when you went scuba diving?
Oh man, the head of my department at Oxford was doing, I never got to go with him, but he was doing this, this whole site in Egypt with this, in Haifa, with this like old boat. And, but I got to do a lot of really cool dives in like Mexico and off the coast of England, obviously, because I was in Oxford. And sometimes you would just find like old gold coins and you felt like you were finding Atlantis and, you know, but mostly it was just like dirt and pottery shards.
It's so cool. It's so cool. Like there was life down there, right? There was there were cities and it's just, does climate change, do you think about climate change knowing all that you've seen? I mean, having seen all of that stuff.
Yeah, totally. I mean, it feels like some of it is just, you know, the like sunken cities and water just washes away stuff and erosion, but a lot of it is our doing, and climate change is terrifying. And also it's one of those things that I feel like has been put on us to solve.
Right.
And I'm like, I'm a comedian and a musician. Like I'll recycle, I'll do composting, but like I stopped trying to put it on us. Do something about
but
it.
You could, but you having a microphone and saying to fucking do something about it is doing something about it.
Totally.
You leave London and you go to Chicago. What brought you to Chicago?
So actually Chicago was before Oxford.
Oh,
right out of college.
I had college in Ohio. Oh, then you went to Chicago for 2 years, and then you went to London.
Yes.
Fuck, I wrote it down wrong. Okay, so you went to Chicago. What?
I went to Chicago.
Well, because you went.
I did teach
college in Ohio, so Chicago is the big city.
Well, actually, I was like, I was going to post college in Ohio. I had gotten a Fulbright grant to study and photograph graffiti art in Finland.
That's just a proud Jewish belle.
Yes, it was so exciting.
My daughter is a Fulbright scholar and she's studying
Well, I'm
graffiti.
not though.
Right.
I'm not though, because it didn't happen. It ended up being a kind of Fulbright where it was half funded through the Finnish University and half funded through the Fulbright program. And then at the very last minute, the Finnish program just didn't have enough students sign up for it. And I think the teacher was going on sabbatical. And so they were like, we can't fund it. And so at the very last moment of me graduating college, I suddenly didn't have this plan or a job or anything. But I had applied to Teach for America because my brother had done it.
So you were a preschool teacher.
I was a preschool teacher. I called them back up. I said, do you still have that spot for me in Chicago? And they said, yes, absolutely. So I moved to Chicago and I taught preschool for 2 years. And I knew very early on that this was not for me.
Right.
But out of like all of the straight out of college jobs, I was like, I do love little kids.
Right.
I was in the Chicago public school system, whereas like a lot of preschool teachers are in like independent nursery pre-K programs and don't have the support system of a huge union, but I did. And so it was like a good job straight out of college. And also it was like not quite the right fit. And so I spent a lot of my time in Chicago, like just meeting people and going to comedy shows and writing songs and like just being in my early 20s trying to figure out what I was going to do with my life. And that's when I got over my stage fright.
Yeah,
and
you
that's
did
when I
it.
started
How did you get over
like photographing graffiti?
Yeah. How did you get over your stage fright?
You.
Because you said, I heard you in an interview say that you got over it in Chicago.
Yes. Okay. So I've always had this, this is in the show actually, but it's true. I always have had this mantra of, if something scares me, I have to do it.
Right.
Like if something scares me and there's no other reason that I'm not doing it, it's not like necessarily dangerous, but if it's just like, skydiving scares me, or traveling to a foreign country alone, or riding this big crazy roller coaster, or asking this person out, if the only reason I'm not doing something is because it's scary, then I should put myself outside of my comfort zone and do it. So I had to have this mantra, and I was doing a bunch of things in Chicago like that. And then I was going to all these comedy shows, and I went to this show at Bar de Ville in Ukrainian Village in Chicago that was run by Will Miles, Maddie Ryan, and the late great Kenny DeForest. And I started going a lot because it was around the corner from my apartment on Thursdays, and it was free. And they would have people like John Mulaney and Hannibal Buress drop in. And so they started noticing that I was coming, and I'd bring all my teacher friends. And so when they had someone big coming through, they would let me know. And so this one Thursday, they texted me and said, hey, Sean Patton is coming through. And I didn't know who Sean was at the time, but I was like, if they're telling me, then I bet it'll be a fun night. So I brought a bunch of friends and I went to go see the show. And afterwards, I was talking to a friend, and I made some wild hand gesture and knocked a full beer onto the person behind me who was Sean, who I'd just seen headline. So I turned around and I apologized, and we started talking. And so Sean and I were not together anymore, but we were together for like 8.5 years. And from that very adorable
beer spilling.
Yeah, from a beer spilling on him. But he was one of the first people who knew about my mantra of, if something scares me, I got to do it, who knew about my stage fright, who had listened to me be funny, and he had heard my songs. And so at some point, really early on to us dating, he said, I think you got to put your money where your mouth is. If you're saying it scares you and you're so afraid to get on stage, then I dare you, by the end of this month, you have to go get on stage. So I found an open mic at Gallery Cabaret in Chicago, and I got up and I was shaking like a little, I was shaking so much I had a weird vibrato in my voice. It was just I was so scared. But I got through it, and I realized I needed just exposure therapy to deal with this. So I got up that night. I didn't do well at all. And I decided I was going to do an open mic every single night that week. And I just kept doing it. And
each time, did it get less stressful, or
each time it got less? Yeah, but it wasn't just a week and I'm done. It lasted for years. Still sometimes there's weird times when it'll come back, and it always feels like I get extremely cold, and my thumb starts hurting right here, and my teeth feel like they're burning. It's a bizarre feeling. But it took me years and years to get over.
I actually, am the opposite. I feel more comfortable on stage with a microphone than I do
Mhm.
like walking into a party and having to fucking socialize with
Yeah.
people or,
Mhm.
you know, I don't know. Stage fright to me. It's fascinating to me. And it's so common. It's so common.
When you think about businesses that are selling through the roof, sure, you think about a great product, a cool brand, and brilliant marketing. But an often overlooked secret is actually the businesses behind the business, making selling simple. For millions of businesses, that business is Shopify. Nobody does selling better than Shopify. They're the home of the #1 checkout on the planet and the not-so-secret Shop Pay that boosts conversions up to 50%, meaning way less carts going abandoned and way more sales happening. So if you're into growing your business, your commerce platform better be ready to sell wherever your customers are scrolling or strolling, on the web, in your store, in their feed, and everywhere in between. Businesses that sell more sell on Shopify. Upgrade your business and get the same checkout Allbirds and Skims use. Sign up for your $1 per month trial period at shopify.com/start selling, all lowercase. Go to shopify.com/start selling to upgrade your selling today. Shopify.com/start selling.
Okay. So you then, after London, you moved to New York. And first of all, I just want to
Yes.
stop for a minute and say kudos to your parents. What amazing people. What amazing people. As a
I will
parent,
tell them that. I will tell them
I
kudos.
just want to say we're dedicating. What are your parents' names?
Tom and Carla.
Tom and Carla. Tom is not a Jewish name. You're from.
No, but he's not
Oh,
Jewish.
all right. Fuck.
Yeah.
That's what I thought. I was like, oh. Tom and Carla,
Yeah.
I love you. Thank you. All right.
Love you.
So you come to New York.
Mhm.
You said that you went to you had been to, before you came to New York, Australia, New Zealand, Vietnam, Indonesia. Are these all true?
Yes.
Okay.
Can you hold on one second?
Yes.
My cat is outside. 1 moment.
Oh,
My cat comes and goes in and out as he pleases.
in the door and not
Um,
outside.
outside. We found him on the street. He refuses to stay off
Oh
the
my
street.
God. You know, when
for
I
too
was
long.
my first apartment in
Mhm.
New York, I lived with an opera singer, and
Mhm.
I loved him because he was always away, and there was a baby grand piano in the living room, and I
Oh,
played
wow.
piano. Yeah.
Amazing. This is the dream.
So
Yeah.
he had a cat, and we lived on the
Mhm.
first floor, and the cat would go outside because we had like a little backyard. It
Mhm.
was a brownstone. It was the first floor of a brownstone.
Yeah.
And then the cat would bring fucking dead pigeons and put them on my bed. And I'm like, I can't take this. And he's like, the cat loves you. It's bringing you presents. I'm like, no, I can't fucking take. Anyway.
Yeah. Spiro has done that.
So you've been to all these incredible places. And I know so many people have asked you this. And as a free speech advocate, I believe graffiti is a direct, it is
Yes.
what the First Amendment is all about. And yet it's illegal.
Yes.
And I understand on private property it being illegal, but the way you described graffiti as, it's anonymous. It's it's got to be the most truthful form of art there is.
I think so. What I was interested in, what I was going to study when I got the Fulbright was the fact that Finland had started to open up a bunch of free wall space for people to graffiti. And I was like, how interesting and cool of a government to do that. But also, what does that do to an art form that's very much a like, fuck the man.
Right.
I'm putting my stamp on this thing, like that deals with vandalism and illegality. And like, I think it's such a pervasive art form that yeah, sometimes it is vandalism. Sometimes it is on public property. Sometimes it's on literally someone just like put a mustache or graffiti the Mona Lisa. Like sometimes it is this like wild act of fuck you.
Right.
And sometimes it's Banksy and
Yes.
it's viewed as a mural art and it's curated and paid for. And sometimes it's just someone writing something tiny in a bathroom. Like it really is across the board such an interesting art form. I just had a photographer friend. He's a photographer for National Geographic, and he sent me some pictures of this book that was written by a soldier from the Iraq War who was taking pictures of graffiti at the bases and in the sort of like porta potties and military spaces. And God, that graffiti is so dark and interesting and terrifying and awful because it's coming from this place of like these soldiers that are really not allowed to voice their opinions on anything or share any of these secrets. This is where they can do it. This is where they can say like, God help me, I killed this person, or like, I don't believe in this war anymore.
And they know they won't be found,
a wild,
you know?
Yes, exactly. And it's such a wild, interesting form of art. And like a lot of my songs, especially the ones that go viral, are very silly. They're the most vulgar and ridiculous and funny things people have written. But there's also some songs in the show and some moments in the show that are about like real sadness and trauma, and why that it's also a place that we communicate that when we feel anonymous and vulnerable.
You know,
and
the more you talk about graffiti, which I find fascinating, is how similar it is to stand-up comedy.
Yeah.
It's so parallel to what we do.
Yeah.
Because you can take something we say the wrong way or feel like we're disruptive but it's graffiti. I mean, I think comedy, and you said it before. You said how, in a way, you said how when you're singing something or making people laugh, how you can get your point across. You can, you know, you can make them think without them knowing that they're thinking or changing their opinion.
Yes. Yes.
Do you think graffiti also has that impact where someone's driving or like I went to the West Bank last summer and I saw Banksy and it was amazing. But do you feel that graffiti has the power to do that? Because I remember during the AIDS crisis, you know, it was pretty much one of the only ways to get this word out. And yet, and people use it for the wrong reason too, you know? But what do you think the power of graffiti is?
I think that anything that is what is the word I'm looking for? Sort of just not expected to change anyone's minds. People don't like being told what to think or what to do. And so if there's something that has that connotation of, a presidential speech or debate or a politician, people dismiss that pretty quickly. But if it's something that is just like a little under the surface, if it's supposed to make you laugh, if it's something you're seeing in a bathroom, if it's something that you think you've discovered or sets you off guard in a way, it can really expand your mindset and change your point of view. There have been so many stand-ups that point out just something that everyone, like even observational comedy is a way of, it's the same thing I'm doing with graffiti sometimes. It's like, look at that thing that no one else noticed, And there is a way that stand-up comedians can talk about politics or religion or anything. And because it's supposed to be funny and it's not supposed to change your mind, it's unexpected and it does sometimes change your mind, It tricks you. And I think graffiti does that. I think it's this it's this art form that people don't take seriously. And I think the things that are not taken seriously are the things that can really sway us.
Absolutely. This week's episode is sponsored by BetterHelp. Now, I am a huge advocate for therapy. I talk therapy. I like physical therapy too, but I'm talking about talk therapy. I've been in therapy since I'm 18 years old. There is nothing better. Nothing better. And it is a stressful time. We just had an election. It's the holidays, and we're going to have to spend family time or not spend family time. It's a decision you might make in therapy, because therapy is really the best way, the only way to process your feelings, anxiety, depression, everything. I've been doing it for over 40 years. I know what I'm talking about. So if you've been thinking about starting therapy, if you thought about it for years and just didn't do it, please give BetterHelp a try. It's entirely online. It's designed to be convenient. It's flexible. It's suited to your schedule. You go to betterhelp.com/Judy Gold. You fill out a brief questionnaire. You get matched with a licensed therapist, and you can switch your therapist at any time for no additional charge. I've done that multiple times in my life, switch therapists. It works. It works. And I know a lot of people who have used BetterHelp, and they love it. So find comfort this December with BetterHelp. Visit betterhelp.com/Judy Gold today to get 10% off your first month. That's BetterHelp, HELP.com/Judy Gold. You're welcome. What is the law of superpowers?
The law of superpowers. Oh man, this is in an old version of the show.
Yeah.
This is not in the show anymore, but I love this concept. This is me and my brother decided at some point that everybody in the world has a superpower. Everybody in the world has one thing that they are better at than everybody else. And sometimes it's something that that an Olympian does, or someone in the Guinness Book of World Records. But sometimes it's something that's, for the most people, it's something that's really tiny. So maybe it's that you tie your shoelaces the fastest or something like that. But my brother and I have always joked that he is the best at pointing at things. And I have a picture that I used to show in the show of this beautiful snowy mountain in Mount Rainier that my brother and I, we had hiked to the top of, and we were sitting on top of, and he just pointed. And suddenly it was like a Rorschach painting or something. You could see Hitler's face in the snowy mountain.
No way!
I gotta send you this picture.
God,
it's
I must
so ridiculous.
see that.
But he's always the person that will find Waldo or point at something. We all know what he's pointing at, and it's such a minor thing, but it's his superpower. And his wife, her superpower is ordering the thing on the menu that the restaurant just ran out of.
Oh, I have that
it's
superpower. I have that superpower.
Yes, exactly.
You know what my superpower is? Every time I get on a fucking, I swear to God, you can ask my lover, Elisa. Every time I get on a machine at the gym, it breaks. And every time I'm checking out, they're like, oh my God, I don't know. The system went down. I don't understand. Oh, this has never happened. I swear to God. That's my fucking superpower.
That's so funny. I feel some people, it's just a pattern that they're I guess this is my superpower.
I love it.
Yeah.
And it's so non-judgy. And I'm so judgy. What is, you've been asked this 100,000 times, and I know that the answer will change as you continue to do your work. For now, for today, what is the most meaningful graffiti?
That's so nice. That's a good question. And it does change every time. There was one that someone sent me the other day, and it was the day of the day after my show closed off Broadway for the second time. And
Mazel tov on that.
I was just feeling thank you. I was feeling this overwhelming gratitude towards everyone that came out to see it and helped with it and made it happen. And then I was getting floods of DMs because I had a song blow up. So I was getting all of this random graffiti, and sometimes people send me stuff that I'm okay, that's interesting. I've seen that one before. Sometimes people send me stuff that I'm this is illegible. But sometimes people send me really funny stuff and really beautiful, poignant stuff. And someone just sent me something that day that said, The world is a better place with you in it.
Oh.
And it was so tiny, and it was on a wall that no one else had graffitied in this bathroom. And I was like, how lovely that everyone who sits down there to pee or shit or cry or do drugs or whatever they're doing,
or fuck.
like see or fuck or change their tampon or put makeup on, whatever they're doing, they get to see that little piece of graffiti and like smile a little bit and then go on with their day. Like that just made me really happy.
Do you ever seek comfort or in, you know, I mean, I think I would go back and look at something and say, God, I needed that today. Do you ever go, God, this is so profound. I needed to see that. I mean, do you ever search for that?
Yeah, I definitely do. I think I don't post them as often because they're not as funny. They don't seem to do as well, but those are the ones that I really love the most. The really wholesome, like, hey, you're looking good today, or like, so glad that you're alive. Or there's the one lyric that's like at the final lyric of the show that's in 2 songs is just this one big piece that says, good luck out there, human. And that's how I end the show. I sort of sign off and there's a blackout. And like, I just love the idea of like someone being like, hey, other human, good luck out there.
I love that. I love what you do. I love that you know so much about art history and that you took bathroom. I mean, you are brillante. So fuck LA, fuck Beverly, whatever, Grove, fuck all you little pretty girls. You're changing the world. Yes. You're changing the world, Caitlin. Aww. And I love it. And
thank you.
Caitlin, first of all, oh God, I could talk to you forever. Can you tell us where your show, The Writing on the Stall, because you're going on tour, correct? Can you tell us where you're going?
Yes. I am going to New Orleans, and that's on May 5th. So maybe this will come out after that. Yeah. But after that, I'm doing this tour where I'm hitting Chicago, St. Louis, Cincinnati, Columbus,
Midwest,
I think Cleveland. Yeah. Midwest tour. I'm hitting Pittsburgh, DC, Philly. I'm just doing a little tour where I get to drive around with my fiance in a toilet and our art. And then I'll probably do some like weekends here and there, but then I'm going to go back to the Edinburgh Fringe Festival, and then I'm going to London, and those shows are already selling out, which is so exciting.
Good for you.
They're months down the way. But yeah, I'm touring the show as much as I can. When I find the right spaces, when it works for my schedule, and eventually I will be filming it, but that's not in the cards yet. So I'm excited to tour
when to film it. Yeah. Because, once you film, you can't do that stuff anymore. But you want it to be perfect. You want it to be perfect. And you're changing the world, Caitlin.
Thank you. That means so much.
You're just great. You're just great. And you're getting married to AJ Holmes.
Yes.
Fantastic.
Yes.
Are you going to have a big wedding?
We just got engaged.
A mazel tov?
Probably. Thank you. I didn't want a big wedding, but he has a giant family, so I think we have to have one.
And what else does he have that's giant? Hey, everyone! God damn it! You're fucking hilarious, Judy. I'm kidding.
We did it.
Listen, thank you so much for being on the podcast. I wish you the best of luck. I really want to see it. I'm so mad I missed it.
I will be doing it sometime in New York again. It's probably where I'll end up filming it. I just want to build a bigger set and have. Here's what I want to do. I want to have a bunch of stalls behind me.
Yeah.
Just me on stage. And then every time a song starts, I want all the stalls to open, and there's a band member in each stall, and they play music with me, and then they close. But I have to figure out the money to pay all the musicians and the set design. So that's the plan.
You'll get it.
Yeah.
Safe travels.
Thank you.
Kudos to your parents. Thank you for doing my podcast. Where can everyone follow you?
My handle and website is the Caitlin Cook.
Okay. And not Caitlin Clark, the fucking basketball player.
No. But at least I can be like, that's how my name is spelled.
Right.
Like Caitlin Clark. Okay? But the last name is Cook. All right.
Yes. Good. Thank you so much for listening to part 2 of my conversation with Caitlin Cook. I hope you enjoyed that. Isn't she terrific? Isn't she terrific and talented? Now I have to get her to post about the podcast. She didn't post, and I'm gonna have to, write to her and say, "Can you please post?" Because I want everyone to hear it. Kill Me Now is produced by Laura Vogel. It's edited by Colin Schmaling. It is going to be rebranded in just a couple of weeks. I think you've got only one more week of Kill Me Now. New artwork, new theme song, new everything. So I'm really excited about that. Oh, I should tell you where I'm performing. I'm going to be, a lot going on. I had to postpone my trip to Israel. So I will be going in January instead of May. But this weekend, I just want to say, is Ben's graduation from Trinity College in Connecticut. I don't even know what the hell's going on. It's so late. I'm so proud of him. He has accomplished so much there, and he is going to be playing basketball next year at Binghamton, SUNY Binghamton. A lot of Jews there. And he's playing Division I, and I'm really proud of him. So Mazel Tov to Ben for graduating college and, fulfilling another dream of playing. He played D1 his freshman year. He went D1, D3, now back to D1, and hopefully he gets to play and be put in the rotation at Binghamton. And he's worked his ass off, so Mazel Tov to Ben. What else? I will be performing at the Tribeca, at the Tribeca Film Festival on June 7th. The Netflix, the new documentary called Outstanding, which is on Netflix. It is about LGBTQ comedy, the history of LGBT. Oh, I can't even say it. I can't even say it. It's too many fucking letters. It's called Outstanding: A Comedy Revolution. And it is produced by my friend Paige Hurwitz, who's going to be on the podcast. And it is fantastic. And it's about the history of LGBTQ comedy. So IALMNOP. So that is opening or premiering at the Tribeca Film Festival on June 7th. And I will be performing with Margaret Cho and Joel Kim Booster. On June 9th, I am doing a live podcast. Get your asses there if you live in New York. 3 p.m. on June 9th, which is a Sunday, with The Good Liars. They're so fucking great. So I'm thrilled about that. Then I'll be at the Provincetown Film Festival on June 12th with the film Outstanding. And I'll be performing at the Post Office Cabaret on June 13th. So, go to my website, judygold.com. You'll see all my dates, upcoming dates. But I'm excited. I'm going to be P-Town all summer, starting on June 23rd. And yeah, that's it. I'm going to be doing the tennis and the comedy, and I'm feeling lucky today. I'm feeling lucky. So I just want to thank you all for listening. I want to wish everyone, I hope they had a wonderful Mother's Day. As we go into these, these graduations, which are being interrupted and whatever. It's so, I can't even tell you how annoying it is. But, I do believe in free speech, but you know what? Come on. Let's not ruin everyone's graduation. We got the point. Whatever. And that's it. I don't know what else to say, except thank you all so much for listening until the end. I love you so much. Can you believe how positive I am? I'm so positive right now. I better quit while I'm ahead. Thank you all. And as I always end with the way, because my mother would never say goodbye. She would only say so long, because to her, goodbye was final. And so that is where that comes from. And until we all meet again, I just want to say to everyone, thank you for listening. And as we always say, so long.